All right, this is chapter 3, The Runaways. On a night when the moon gazed down like an evil eye, the young prince appeared in Jemmy's chamber. Boy, tumble out of bed. I need a manservant. Jemmy saw that the prince was wearing a black cloak and carrying a wicker basket the size of a sea chest. What are you up to now? Walking in your royal sleep, are you? I'm running away. The whipping boy sat bolt upright. Hardly a day passed that he didn't make one plan or another to run off. But a prince? What horrible new mischief was this? You can't hop off like you was common folks. What's biting you? So what do you think biting you means, Austin?
Like, what's gone into your mouth?
Right, what's gotten into you? What's wrong with you? Said the prince, I'm bored. With dumping bullfrogs in the moat so no one got a wink of sleep? Boring. So Jemmy's now naming off things that the prince has done wrong. And didn't you laugh fit to kill when the knights slipped off their horses and clattered to the ground? You hog greased the saddles. The prince folded his arms. Boring. And don't you get me thrashed so that this hide of mine feels like the devil run me over with spikes in his shoes? Let's be off. Why me, thought Jemmy. Can't you find a friend to run off with? But no, not you, Prince Brat. You've got no friends. That's why me. Jemmy pointed to the window. It's night out, he protested. The best time, replied the prince. But ain't you afraid of the dark? Everyone knows that. You won't even sleep without a lit candle. Lies! Anyway, the moon's up, good and bright. Come on, the prince said. Jemmy stared at him with dreadful astonishment. The king will have a gory-eyed fit. Positively. So that was the prince's response. Jemmy saying, the king's going to have a fit. And the prince stops everything to say, positively. So what is the prince wanting? Say it out loud. He wants the king to be mad, you're right. He'll hunt us down. You'll get off light as a feather. But I'll be lucky if they don't whip me to the bone. More likely I'll be hung from the gallows. Scragged for sure. Your lookout, said the prince with a dry grin. Carry the basket, Jemmy, from the streets, and follow me. So this is chapter 4. It's called Containing Hands in the Fog. So start making a prediction in your head about what's going to happen. We know that the prince and Jemmy are about to what? Run away. The night moon had lit their way like a lantern. But by dawn, the runaways, double mounted on a horse from the castle stable, were hopelessly lost. A thick fog had swirled in. They strayed from the road, and trees had closed in on them. Forest is creepy things, said Jemmy, hanging onto the basket as best he could. Give me cobbled streets anytime. A low branch almost swept them off the saddle. Boy, said the prince, get down and lead this dumb-headed beast. Lead it? In this fog? I'd need 2 hands and a lantern to find me own nose. But Jemmy slipped off the saddle. A plan had been tumbling about in his head. Here's your chance, Jemmy, he told himself. Slip away in the fog. Run for it. No more whippings for you. Not if you can't be found. The great sewers, Jemmy. That's the place to hide. So Jemmy's having this conversation in his head. All right? And I can see that because as I read, I can see there's no quotation marks around it. So if there were the quotations, you know what quotations look like?
Yeah.
If that was around the words, then I'd know he's saying them out loud. But I know because there's no quotations, he's speaking it to himself. He's thinking it. What's keeping you? Asked the prince. Grab the halter. I'm thinking. Leaves crackled under Jemmy's feet as he began to back off. His mind was made up. Once the fog cleared, he'd find the river. Hadn't his pa taught him his way through the maze of mighty brick sewers? That's where they'd caught the fiercest rats to sell by cageful. The dog and rat pits paid fancy prices for the best fighters, and that meant sewer rats. Who'd think to look for Jemmy under the city? Jemmy took another crackling step backward and froze. A sudden yellow glow floated in the fog. The prince burst into squawks and bellows. Who's there? Let go! Take your hands off me, you insolent rascal! There came a rough, booming reply. Well, what we got here? The glowing lantern swayed. A noisy brat on a fine beast of a horse. Jemmy edged closer. A cutthroat, he thought. Like a snake striking, a ghostly hand darted through the fog and clutched his arm. A second cutthroat. Jemmy looked up and barely made out a long, bony face with hollow cheeks and a nose like a meat cleaver. I got another, Billy, cackled the second man, shoving Jemmy forward.
Oh.